Good afternoon and Happy New Year's Eve. Not quite Happy New Year, not here, although it's late enough in the afternoon that you could very well be watching it from somewhere where it already is 2023, but it's still 2022 here. It's snowing a little bit, but a pleasant temperature, -9, so that's about 14 Fahrenheit, something like that. My walk in Lakeview got cut short the other day because my battery ran out, so I'm going to head over there again, although a different path than I followed last time. Start the same though. We have to get to the footbridge and get across the creek, of course. It's the way it always starts. It's Saturday, so I've been running errands, but also working on that new hybrid publishing company that I'm starting, called Endless Sky Books. You can find it now in a kind of hello, Miriam. Happy New Year. You can find the new publishing company now online at endless-sky-books.com. I put the hyphens in because otherwise endlesssky.com, endlesskybooks.com has 3 S's in a row, which looks ugly. Oh, gee, everybody's popping in here. Mary Lou, hi. Thank you. You too. I'll have to first foot the house tonight at midnight. It's a Scottish custom, and my wife's grandfather, in whose house we live, they bought the house back in 1939, was Scottish, so we try to maintain that tradition. So the first person into the house has to be a dark-haired man. That would be me. Anyway, yeah, so Endless Sky Books, that's the hybrid publisher. That's where the books that I publish will have an author investment. So people will pay for some of the cost of producing the book, but then they get a much higher share of the royalties. So basically, a little different from what I do with Shadowpaw Press, which is a traditional publisher where I... oops, what did I do? I think I just... That must have been what happened yesterday. I thought nobody was walking with me because I couldn't see any comments. I think I had just accidentally brushed the comments off the screen. And so I found out that people were actually walking with me, and I thought I was all by myself. I was feeling so ignored. But I can see comments today, so that's good. Still poking at the screen though to get everything just right here. Okay, carrying on. So anyway, that was the publishing thing I did today. Endless-sky-books.com. It's just kind of a placeholder at the moment. But if you have a book you would like to invest in publishing yourself, or invest publishing through me, I'll do editing. I will treat it exactly the same as the books I publish through Shadowpaw Press. Every bit the same quality. Shadowpaw Press, however, is full. I can't take on anything more there for the year. Basically, I just need to make some money. So I'm hoping that this might attract some of the people who are looking for that kind of publishing. I also offer ghostwriting services. If you would like to have a book written, or if you would like to write a book, you can hire me to write it. It'll have your name on it. Nobody will ever know I had anything to do with it. All you have to do is pay me. That's how ghostwriting works. And of course, I offer self-publishing services too, so editing and all that kind of stuff on a freelance basis. Actually quite snowy. Snowing more than I thought it was. It's picked up a bit since we were out buying groceries a little bit earlier. Hey, I think maybe they've cleared the steps better up here, going up onto the dike. I'm going to go up and walk down through the park, Rotary Park, on the other side of the dike here, right, opposite direction from what I normally do. And then we'll get over into Lakeview, and I will walk some of those snowy streets, the snowy streets of Lakeview. We have nothing special planned as far as New Year's Eve goes. As I saw somewhere online, it's almost New Year's Eve, and I still haven't decided what to wear to the living room. The gimbal is not working well. It's not rotating well. There's the dike. See, I'm pointing at it, and it's continuing to point forward. It's not tracking like it's supposed to. I wonder if it somehow needs some. It needs a little lubrication. It's going to be a nuisance. Unless I just point it straight ahead for the whole walk. See, I want to point it over there. Oh, there it moved. Well, maybe I just needed to be freed up a little bit. Comes our first dog. There's always somebody with a dog. In this case, it's a white dog. Looks like a snow dog. It's supposed to be a sun dog, which I had pictures of on the really cold days. I have to put my hood up after all. I was thinking it was warm enough I wouldn't need to, but because of how much wind I get, I guess. Right now I'm walking into the wind. I do notice that. I'm a little colder. There's usually lots of people on the paths on a weekend day, like Saturday. I hear sounds. I don't see anybody down the alley. Our daughter is going somewhere tonight, but we're staying home. We're just talking about 4 years ago. We were in New York at New Year's, although not in Times Square because we're not idiots, but visiting my publisher, editor. It was a very, very great trip. Saw Hamilton, Dear Evan Hansen, Nutcracker, and Radio City Music Hall Rockettes. Okay, we're going to go down to the left this time. To the park. I think I am going to put my hat up. My hood, I mean. Guess I will have to button it, so hold on 1 second here. I think I can do that with one hand. I've done it before. It's as much because of the snow falling as anything else. There we go. That'll make me much more comfortable. Once I get my glove back on, because now my fingers are cold. Now we're just opposite where we were a minute ago. Walking up towards the Albert Street Bridge. Of course, yesterday walking around the lake, I was on the other side of the Albert Street Bridge. These houses have nice views out over the river here. The creek, river. I think it's a little big to be called a creek, but it's called a creek. It's a small river. It's about the same size as the Souris River in Weyburn, where I grew up. Maybe a little wider, but not much. I mean, a little narrower, but not much. Souris, of course, is French. Souris, for mouse. And once the river crosses the border, it turns into the Mouse River in North Dakota. And then it comes back up into Canada, and it's the Souris River again. thought about not walking. I often don't on Saturday because I've been doing so many errands and stuff, but I also saw my weight this morning after holiday eating and thought, I really shouldn't skimp on the exercise. Gonna have to take off a couple of pounds after the holiday season is over. This is Rotary Park over here. Probably, well, it might be thin. There's an outflow here, and you can see it does actually look quite melted down there. Dike is lower, and it was not really a dike at all on this side. I have seen this all covered with water up to the berm over there. In a big spring melt. But back in the 70s, there was a big flood that went way up into that neighborhood where we live. I don't think it would have reached our house, but certainly a block or two closer to the river. That's when they built this dike for flood control after that. I've seen pictures. It was not nice. I always wonder when you're having a heavy snow year, and this looks like a pretty heavy one. The other thing we did yesterday was, it was the 100th anniversary of my mother-in-law's birthday. She died in 2013, but had she lived, she would have been 100 yesterday. And so we had some old friends over for that to mark the occasion. And one of the things I did was look up the weather from 1922 in Regina to see what it was like. And they actually had a very, very mild year. The Christmas Day here in 1922 was 3.3 Celsius, well above freezing. What are they doing? Well, they're flooding to make a skating surface. That's what they're doing. I'm not sure you're supposed to do that, but I don't think anybody's saying no. Happy New Year, Lisa. Anyway, yeah, back in 1922, they'd had several days above freezing. Christmas Day was well above freezing. They may have had a brown Christmas back in that year. So it shows that we really have a bad concept of weather. Because whenever it's above freezing, it's never been this warm before. But when you look back, it's often warm spells in December in Saskatchewan. We didn't have any this year, nothing to speak of. Mostly really cold. This is the Albert Street Bridge, which is also the dam that forms Wascana Lake. So there's a spillway, but obviously nothing's spilling this time of year. Right there. Again, Rotary Park over here. Now we have to get across Regina Avenue up here to carry on into Wascana, which is where I'm headed. Lakeview, which is where I'm headed. I'm going to miss the light. I'll have to wait for the next one, it looks like. It's hanging in there, but I don't think it's going to last till I get to the corner. Well, I could be wrong. Maybe I will get across it here. All right, we'll go down this way and then start zigzagging up into Lakeview, which is the neighborhood to my left. Well, this part too, but this is also Lakeview along here. Question is, do I take a turn up the alleys or just stick I think I'll stick to the streets today. More scenic. Angus Street. These lovely streets with the overarching elm trees. Pretty much a black and white world at the moment, but mostly older houses in here. There's a few newer ones that popped up, but mostly they're older ones. See, built in the 20s, 30s time frame, maybe a little earlier, some of them. The biggest, oldest ones are along Albert Street itself. That was the high rent district, I guess you'd say. But all of this was kind of a nice neighborhood. Whoops, and still is. That car's going anywhere this winter. I like this house on the corner here. It's a nice one. This is McCallum, which oh no, this is 20th. We're not at McCallum yet. I could say McCallum has some really nice houses along it. And I like this one. I like that kind of symmetrical, I don't know what you call that, colonial, I guess? Neo-colonial, something like that. I like that look. However, we're not going up Angus. We're going to zig now. This way. I smell, it smells like coal smoke actually. I used to smell that a lot when I was a kid because they used it some, the old Air Force Base turned school that I grew up on in Weyburn. Former Commonwealth Air Training Command base. Doesn't that look Christmassy? Or New Year's-y now, I guess? So I remember that smell as a kid on the campus as I was walking around. But I don't know who'd be burning coal. So maybe it's something else, but that's sure what it smells like to me. And you'll just have to take my word for it, because this is not smell-o-vision. These are weird little traffic control circles on this street. Only place that they exist in the city, I think. At least I've never seen them anywhere else. Warm up. Good idea. Must be a business, but I don't know what it is. Oh, we will go up Ray Street now. Oh, somebody said hello. Who's that? Stefan, hi. Happy New Year to you too. And health and luck as well. Woof, woof. Some dog having his say somewhere. I do hope my microphone's working well. Those are big Christmas lights. I have to be careful. I'm looking up at things and then not always watching my feet. Oh, here's some older ones. I like the colors on that one. I like that style. That one fits in the neighborhood, but I think it's actually new. I don't think it's an old refurbished one. But it does capture the flavor of some of the old houses. Good. Apparently I can be heard. Well, I think that's good. Perhaps you don't want to hear me, in which case you're welcome to turn down the sound. I do sometimes do a non-talking walk, but not very often. That's a new one. You can tell by the kind of blockiness of it. Fairly new, I would think. There's another one in the style I like, that kind of symmetrical. I like those. We've been in that one over there. This is McAllen. So we go down, zigzag this way again. There's a modern one, modern-ish anyway. Yeah, that one we were in at one point. Maybe we were looking for places to live when we got married. Well, this is a famous one here. It's called the Doll House. It was built by an architect for his daughter. It's a heritage property. Needs paint, but I've always been interested to see inside it. With those triangular windows. Never have though. See, there's a new one. Blocky. Cubic. A cubist house, one might say. It's a very broad street, McAllen. So it was kind of a ritzier street to live on, I think, when these houses were built. Another nice one. Quite large. But we are continuing to zigzag until we get to Montague. Or until I get to the 30-minute mark, at which point I'll want to head back at the latest. Yeah. See if the other side looks like it's better cleared. Another dog over there. Yeah, looks clearer on this side. Well, how long have I been out already? 23 minutes, so actually I should be thinking about reversing direction. I'll zigzag a couple more and then I'll start heading south anyway. Maybe go one more over, one more up, and then reverse flow, I think. You can see the trees are very big here. Mature trees, as they say. Dutch elm has largely been held at bay. We've lost a few trees over the years, but we still have elm trees. Orange door looks warm on a wintry day. I can get a dark background here. It could be less, but it could also be more. I mean, this is not, it's a fairly snowy year, but not record-breaking by any means. snowier than last year, if you go back and look at my videos. I think that's true of most of North America, actually. There's been a snowy year in North America. And it's still falling. You may not be able to see it much on the camera, but I can, because it's falling on me. That was me blowing it off of the microphone. I think that's probably a new one, big one on the corner there, but made to look more in keeping with the neighborhood. Okay, we'll go up one more because the next one is hill, and that'll be our turnaround point. Then I'll start winding my way south instead of north. Or sorry, north instead of south. Headed south right now. I'm still going to keep zigzagging over till I get to Montague and then start zigzagging back towards the footbridge is the plan, in case you're wondering. The colored houses always look nice in the snow. Ours is white, but they always come alive in the snow, kind of keep things from being quite so drab. There's one, I didn't go by it this time, around here that's kind of a pale green and has an orange door, and it really pops out in the snow every year. Okay. Oh, this is a good place to come out because there's a cool house on the other side of the hill here. I'm sure it was probably in my Historic Walks of Regina and Moose Jaw book, but to actually tell you anything that was in that book, I'd have to carry it with me because it's not like I remember. Oh, just bits and pieces. And it wouldn't be practical to carry it with me. But it is a very cool house over there. With the giant reef up above the entrance, as they do every year. Okay, Hill Avenue is another major. There you go. Isn't that pretty? That's a nice, pretty color in the snow too. Pale green, pastel. Now, if you kept going this way, you'd come to the little shopping strip that I sometimes walk through, but I'm not going that far today. Because at this next street, which is Cameron, I will head south. If I went straight down Cameron, it would be the most direct route because it would take me straight to the footbridge. But I will stretch it out a little bit more by continuing to zigzag over toward Montague till I get there. And then work back to Cameron. Okay, now we're headed north. Oh, getting warm enough I may take my hood off again here in a minute. I think the snaps came undone anyway. If I take them off, I'll be cold. It's always the challenge, hitting the right balance. Striking the happy medium. What are you so happy for? Take that. Ooh. Oof. I can't see the dips in the sidewalk. That's what that is. Everything's white. So the lack of shading and shadow makes it really hard to see the sudden changes in elevation. That's a new one. Again, kind of fits into the neighborhood better than some. Actually, I think this is a new one too. That's definitely a new one with that style. So this street has had a few of the old ones gone in recent years. Oh, there's another driveway. Oh, the one's been torn down on that corner recently, it looks like. So there'll be something new going in there. I wonder what it was. I have no image of what was there. Sometimes they're just houses that have really run past their prime, but sometimes they tear down things that shouldn't be torn down just because somebody wants something new and can't be bothered with the heritage aspect of these old houses. And you know, having an old house does add certain expenses and problems you don't get with a brand new one. It's true. There's always things you could work on in an old house. We certainly have some things yet that we would like to upgrade, despite having done major renovations just a few years ago. I haven't fallen yet, at least, despite my occasional grunts of startlement when I find the ground is not where I thought it was. Oh. It's usually the driveways, that's where you run into ruts or sudden dissensions. Dissensions? Declensions? Elevation changes, anyway. Alright, now we're going up whatever we're on. Oh, of course, Garnet. Of course, after Cameron comes Garnet. I know that. So I used to live on Garnet on the other side of the creek. Ah, that's a big new one. And a small old one. These ones, there's quite a few of this pattern, very small. It was distinctive with that high, pointy roof over the entrance. There's another one. A couple of brand new ones over there.
Hi.
Hello, how are you? I'm live streaming my walk around the neighborhood. This thing is a motion smoother outer, so it keeps it smooth when I'm doing it. There's another one. This has brought us back to McCallum, but I'm going to go over one more street to Montague/Elphinstone, and then I'll decide how I get across. I might go, oh, that path won't be open. No, I'll zigzag back for the couple of blocks that I can. Really? It's on the other side of that fence. He does it. Oh, there he is. Hello. Yeah. Not sure that was an entirely friendly bark. Now here we are again by Lakeview United, which we walked by when I came over for my shorter than I intended walk down here on this side of the creek. So we will have a little bit of overlap here from what I did that day, unless I just carry on. Maybe I'll just carry on to Montague and head back. So yeah, Lakeview United Church. Big church, tiny congregation these days. I don't think the world is a better place for people having lost the habit of going to church every Sunday. Whether they believed or not, I think church attendance was important and is. And many people still go, of course. And I'm hardly one to talk since I went 3 times a week growing up. And I don't go now, but I think the loss of that community has not served the West, Canada, the US, any place well. More people on the skating rink there, that outdoor rink. A very familiar sound if you grew up in Saskatchewan is that sound of hockey sticks on the ice. Okay, this is Montague. We'll walk 1 block along it and then wend our way back to the footbridge and home from there. That's a big house on that corner. I think it's an old one, but it was recently refurbished. And there was another driveway that I neglected to notice. Find the sidewalk here. Here it is. And again, there's the skating rink over there. And there's kind of a BMX track here between us and that skating rink. It's one thing you could say for Saskatchewan, you can generally have an outdoor rink for several months of the year. Plus all the artificial ice surfaces as well. Kids grow up playing hockey. I didn't. I got here too late at 8 years old from Texas. Couldn't skate. I learned it after a fashion. But it was always an unpleasant experience for me. I had flat feet and weak ankles. I never seemed to have enough ankle support in those old skates we had back then. And my feet would hurt. So I would skate for a bit and then it just became unpleasant, not fun at all. But I can get around on skates. At least I could. I haven't been on them in years now. I have a pair in the basement, but I don't even know if I could get my feet into them. My feet have gotten bigger as I've gotten older. I used to wear a size 12 and now I'm a 13. Which they won't get any bigger than that, but that's about as big as you want your feet to get. It's really hard to buy things in an ordinary shoe store once you're over 13. Here's a modern little one on the corner. And then these ones are very interesting. On this corner, I'd be interested to see inside them. So as we cross 20th, we will now work our way back towards the footbridge. Blowing snow off the mic again. Oof. So yeah, very modern this one. And quite large too. And the garage is even that modern look. The one next to it is kind of obviously built more or less to the same plan. It looks different because of different decisions made by the homeowner. Here, let's do one alley, just to vary things. So we can see these modern garages here behind those modern houses. Brown bins are garbage. They only pick it up every 2 weeks this time of year because it's frozen. So there's no worry about smelly garbage or rodents. And the blue ones are recycling, also picked up every 2 weeks. In the summer, recycling stays at 2 weeks, but sometime around beginning of May, maybe even April, they'll start picking up garbage every week again. The back of a modern house up here. I knew this alley wouldn't go through because no alleys go directly into Regina Avenue. It's too busy. It's the main road to the airport, among other things. Tempting to just walk down between the two houses, but no, I won't do that. Somebody's property. I bet you it's happened, but I won't do it. We'll continue over to the next street proper here. Wolf Perot country. If you know that artist, he likes to paint back alleys. Often snow-covered. We have a painting of his, like a couple actually. Wolf Perot's. Very well-known local artist. He always takes out to the garbage, the modern garbage bins, though. He puts in the old corrugated metal cans because they're more interesting. Right, well, now we will just walk down Regina Avenue a couple of blocks till we get back to the footbridge. Again, if you're heading to the airport, you'd be headed in the direction that oncoming car is. This road takes you straight out to Regina International Airport. I could literally walk there from my house, but dragging luggage, it would be a pain. And you wouldn't want to do it in the winter. I don't think you could walk it in the winter very well. But in the summer, you could totally do it. Probably take 45 minutes to walk from my house. So about what I've done today. If I just walked to the airport, I would have been there by now. I think. Most likely. If the traffic works, I could cross here just to be different. There's nobody coming, which there isn't. I will cross right here, right now. And we'll go down this side of Regina Avenue. Over there, there'll be kids tobogganing. Just the other side of the dike. You can see them, if you look close, sticking up over the top. There's a depression on the other side that I like to sled in. Done it a few times, not recently. Did it with Alice a few times when she was little. Oh, somebody else had said something and I missed it. Rudy in Mexico. Happy New Year to you too, Rudy. You hear it'll turn New Year's for you about the same time it turns New Year's for us, depending on what part of Mexico you're in. I guess. Okay, back across the creek and just a couple of more blocks to home. We'll stop for a traditional look both ways. That's looking west. And that's looking east. And this is looking north. I'll go down the wheelchair ramp this time just to be different. Or the bicycle ramp, I guess. Probably more bicycles than wheelchairs here, but I think it's at the appropriate. There's my low power warning, so this is timing out pretty good. I think the slope is probably wheelchair friendly, although it'd be a long push up if you were doing it yourself. This is Cameron Street. There's a really big new one. I walked by it the other day and pointed out the poor unconscious Santa lying in the front. There's possibly nobody home to even notice that. Don't know if he lost his inflation, or you wouldn't think so. There's lots of inflation around right now. But yeah, so when I first started walking, they were just building that, so it's been interesting to see it come along. It's a really nice house, but it takes up 2 lots. Snowshoe hare, or possibly rabbit. There you go, you even got some wildlife on this trip. He's still out there in the middle of the street. We have both snowshoe hares and rabbits, and I don't know how to tell them apart at first glance. They're both white and have long floppy ears. The hares are bigger, but without them sitting next to each other, that's hard to judge. And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson, or at least Robinson Street. Whoever it was named after, there probably was a Mrs. Robinson. But probably not the one that Paul Simon sang about. We'll go down 19th this time. Whew. Starting to get a little tired of walking in the rough terrain. It's harder work walking this time of year than in the summer because you're always adjusting your stride, sliding a bit, and all that kind of thing. Comes another dog. You can see the cord here. That's from somebody plugging their car in, which they do in really cold weather. Hello. You don't bother at this temperature unless you have a car that really doesn't like to start. But if it's minus 20 or below, for sure, most people are likely to plug them in. Plug in the block heater is what you're plugging in. It's not like we're charging electric cars. All the talk of electric cars, apparently, according to the AAA, lose 40% of their range at 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, it's colder than that right now here, and this is a warm day. So trying to mandate people driving electric cars is insane. Never mind the fact that the power infrastructure won't support everybody charging those cars. Never mind the fact that the amount of lithium and other minerals you'll have to mine to make those cars will cause way more environmental damage than the exhaust of current cars. So it's just insane. Not based in reality at all, those kinds of dreams. Barring widespread nuclear power and new infrastructure for charging. That's my opinion, and this is my walk, so I get to say my opinion. And we're almost done it though. So if you didn't like my opinion, it's almost over. Oh, I missed another one. Can't quite read it until I get a darker background. Let's see. Nope, not doing a party. My daughter's going to a friend's house. That's as partying as our family's getting. We will watch a movie and watch the ball drop in Times Square, probably. And that's probably the extent of our excitement. And then I have to first foot the house at midnight. I have to go out before New Year's, wait for it to occur, and then walk through the house carrying a bottle of whiskey without speaking in one door and out the other. Then I get to come back in, and then we toast the new year with the whiskey. It's a very Scottish system or custom called first footing. Okay, that's it for 2022. I hope wherever you are, you have or already started a great new year. Happy New Year. And I'll see you on the other side of midnight.